We're just gonna wing it. Ready, set, go. Nice.
Welcome.
What an intro. Alright, so this is Johann Skyfire, Truth Seeker, Wandering Wizard. I'm here at. What do you want to be known as?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm the one and only Bruce Than, and you can follow me at Bruce Than Instagram and also Bruce Than Energy on Instagram.
Alright, Bruce. Yeah.
This is a studio, an unknown, undisclosed location. We're in the back cave.
Okay, we're in the bat cave. So we're here to talk about energy healing and first we'll introduce
Just for
ourselves.
today, yeah.
We met through Alicia McNaughton at her gathering at the beach.
Yep.
And both of us took Moonai Key, right?
Yeah.
You took it like back in was it 2 years ago? What year did you take it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, before you did, right? Like, it was
Yeah.
like a year or two before you did. So.
Okay, a year or two before.
Yeah.
So that was like 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I took it last year, 2022. And then you practice Reiki. Let's talk about Reiki, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, as far as energy healing, that's like one lineage, right? Like there's Lightarian, there's Kundalini, there's a bunch, and I think like
I've heard
around the world there's like other.
I've heard of dolphin Reiki. I've had dolphin Reiki before.
I believe it.
I like fell asleep getting dolphin Reiki one time. It was crazy.
Wait, was it a dolphin or a human?
It was a human that was
really
she got attuned to dolphin Reiki and then and then
they're very like high vibrational, so
so like we did like a Reiki share on each other, right?
Yeah, and I think like we were
camping. We were out camping in
well, we've been talking about it. Yeah. And we went camping, and then we were pretty busy just enjoying nature, and then so like when we had like a little break, then we did it. You know, we did a Reiki share. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all about that because like, you know, I believe in energy healing, and so you can like do self healing for yourself, and then if you know someone who also is a practitioner or like, because people are intuitively gifted as well.
Yeah.
So whether you are aware of that or not, so then, like for me, it was like the spot in my back that I don't know if it was because it was hard to reach, but you know, it's always good for healers to get healing like from someone else, because you don't know what you don't know, and like there's a lot of hidden things, right? I mean, if we knew what it was, we would heal and get rid of the crap, you know, that we're trying to like heal from. So
unblock things so that the energy can flow fast, like more fluidly.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole explanation in itself too. Like, why do energy healing, and what does it actually remove? What does it clear? It can transmute things.
Yeah. Transmuting traumas and negative energies, like negative emotions, limited beliefs.
Yeah, like thoughts, which are energy, can be like
negative thought forms
transmuted. So it like for me, there's no limitation to what energy healing can do, but it's subtle, so people, you know, need to recognize like sometimes it can be very profound, so it's very individual, and other times it's subtle, and then like the energy is like processing. So I've been doing this for, I'd say, close to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
just but not like large scale, but just enough to like kind of increase my own sensitivity to the energy because working with like 7 chakras, so then like just kind of understanding and observing the dynamic that because it's 7 to the 7 power, let's say, of like interaction just within yourself, and there's more like chakras above and below, but that's enough, right? Like a lot of things,
Yeah.
and then a lot of like it's kind of the main thing will surface up in the moment of the session. So I prefer an hour session. I mean, less time, like still is effective, but I like just having like that hour set and like having the client like be in the right like state of mind, and I'd recommend for them to meditate a little bit before they get here, because the more open they are, the more like they can receive.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, um, I practiced pranic healing for my first year, diving into energy healing, and some of the things that they would teach is not to wear leather clothes or accessories because leather blocks energy.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
but yeah, like
yeah.
metals and crystals.
So metals, rings, even crystals.
Because I wonder, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean,
But pranic
leather.
healing is different because it's like distant. We don't they don't believe in touching.
Yeah.
They're all about safety and disposing the negative energy, like, and not absorbing it. So it's all
Right.
distant, like projecting energy, cleansing, and all that. So it's way different from Reiki, but I learned both in order to complement each other. I take the best of both sides.
Well, and then the idea of like distance. So when we talk about energy, like electrical energy, like voltage. So like the distance do matter, right? Like resistance and like the gap. So if you're sending a signal, like
I've done a distant healing on someone like all the way in Colorado.
Yeah.
And then I was like on the phone with them. And
because our intention is, there's no like time or space.
Yeah. So that was like if.
But don't you find like it could be more like the energy stronger like the closer you are? Because like personally, when I do it on myself, and then like the closer contact, I can like stack my palms to like amplify.
I could feel the heat when I'm touching someone, or like when someone's doing Reiki on me. I could feel the heat emanating from their hands.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another perspective, I guess you could say. So that was my experience. I don't think I've ever had a distant healing done on me. Well, actually I have. So I've had people do distant Reiki on me, and I'd fall asleep.
Yeah.
I tell them, okay, if you're gonna practice doing distant Reiki on me, let me know, or make sure you do it late at night when I'm like in bed, because I don't want to fall asleep on a road.
Oh yeah.
But like I've practiced meditating while I was driving. I would play like meditative music while I was driving, and I used to Uber and drive Lyft like every day, and I got used to it. But there's been some occasions where I had to like pull over to the road to
if you're like too deep in that.
There was some like this like meetup groups type stuff where I had to join, and I was still on the road, and I was like, okay, I'm like racing to get home, and then the thing started already, but I joined anyway, and I would like listen, and then there was this one, and it was like light language. It was getting pretty deep, and at one point I was like, okay, now it's really getting kind of deep, so I'm gonna just pull over to a place I know where it's safe, to like at a park, and I
Just in case
and
it gets too deep.
yeah, and I got into a really good state, but yeah,
Well,
that's like a rare occasion.
yeah. I mean, we're talking about like, yeah, there's distance healing, and then like I, like when you do the Boyson scan over so and so, and you feel like the areas where there's like heat or whatever, like you're feeling sometimes like
Yeah.
tingling, or it could be different, but so then I'm like, oh, it's here, and then but when I put it closer, like I feel it kind of that contact,
Yeah,
like amplifies
my
it
left hand
more.
is like my scanning hand, and
Mhm.
when I physically touch to scan, I feel a bump in my palm, and it's telling me, oh, that's where the blockage is at, and a lot of times if I tell that to the person knows that, oh yeah, I have like an injury there or some kind of issue, whatever. So that is like a confirmation for me. It's like, oh, okay, that's what that means for me. Other people have done like a more distant scanning where they feel heat or or pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure is like a really good one.
Yeah.
That
Like magnets, right? Like
like magnets, yeah.
pushing against each other.
Yeah.
So that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the more you do it,
everyone's got like a different
you feel it.
scanner.
Yeah. But I think like, so what you feel is not like about thinking, right? It's like feeling more.
Yeah, it's an intuitive thing.
Yeah. So to describe that is, it's not like they're not getting the full experience unless you understand it like through experience, I guess.
Yeah, it was a learning process. Like I didn't know. No one told me, hey, you've got this thing built in on you. You got to like figure it out on your own. Like I was like, and it was through experience.
You just got to do it.
Experimenting or like bumping into someone who's another energy healer who's willing to teach you.
Yeah.
Stuff that he learned, and then it becomes like a information exchange. So it's like, oh, cool. I'll teach you one thing. You can teach me, that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think we should share. Like I like spreading it. Like the
spreading the knowledge.
Knowledge. Yeah. I mean, this is something like, so if everyone like had the ability. Well, they do have the ability. It's just like utilizing it, because it's like having. Have you heard like a medicine cabinet in your hands? So like you're going somewhere and you're hurt, like you just or like for me, my daughters, I like do it for them. Like they get sprained or something.
Yeah, that's good. Or like someone like when you get hurt, like and you start rubbing the hand, it like the pain goes away.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that.
Yeah, or headaches, or I mean, there's so many applications. So I feel like having it is a benefit, like a gift that I don't have to worry. Like it's just something like I can use and like offer.
And so like you and I did an Reiki share exchange, and like you provided. I guess we talked about like, oh, what would be something that we would want to work on, and then I guess for me, someone told me that like maybe my throat chakra was.
Oh yeah, so
I think it was this side.
When we did the Reiki share, I felt it.
You felt it, huh?
Oh yeah, like it was just like bam, but you knew it, but then.
I just didn't like know how. I was like, I don't feel any pain in that area, but.
But did you try doing like energy healing?
No, not really.
How come?
I don't know.
Really?
I think
because you identified it for me.
Here's the thing.
But I did a scan, but I'm like, yeah, I agree, it's there. And then
lately now, I've been like more open to communicate. So, right? I guess my communication.
That was the blockage. I felt it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting for me. Like you identified it, but you're saying you never, like you could have just did it, right?
Yeah, probably. Well, I don't
Well,
know.
maybe it takes like a different energy because like
Well,
I've been doing it on
yeah.
myself, like the one like to, you know,
Yeah, so
it is
so
heart
so
chakra.
your area was in the middle of your back,
Upper
so it's kind of
back.
hard for you to reach, right?
Yeah.
So then I came in and said, "Oh, I'll work on that," and I cut some cords, and then we laid, you laid on your
Mhm.
stomach, on your massage table, and then luckily you have these crystals, and I grabbed like I was getting like creative. I was like, "Oh, you got like tools
Yeah,
that I
Alicia.
could use," you know. So
Gifted me that.
I remember I was using this one. This
Yeah.
one's pretty good.
It's like psychic surgery.
Yeah, I was doing Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
I was doing psychic surgery.
She taught us, and then
She told me that too.
like I
before.
use it like rarely, but like yeah, sometimes you gotta get in there because like
Yeah.
I feel like these energy like they're like blobs, right? And then they can like dig in, like they have their roots thing, and and you want to get the root. It's just like a weed, right?
Yeah, it's like a weed.
Yeah, if you don't get the root, seriously, like you're just like doing the surface, and then the freaking thing grows back.
It
you
could,
know,
it could grow back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so like I remember we worked on it the first day at the camp, and then
So there's more.
that was
to get.
that was the first session. That was
Yeah.
the first. And
Yeah.
And we got some of it, but I knew it was like I think there's still some
Yeah.
there.
Well.
And then the second day was when we worked on
Yeah.
on your table. That's where I had more tools available. And then that's when I got like a bigger chunk out, right?
You felt like most of it, right?
And then we also identified what was the root of the problem.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a couple sessions. So like people think like, oh, now you're healed. You're like
Yeah.
you can walk on water. No, it's just like it's a whole process, and there's more. So like I use the analogy, it's like a iceberg. You get like this little stuff, but then like you get deeper, and it is very thick. Like that's the stuff that like inner child,
Inner child.
the first time that you accepted a limiting belief, is like, and it's powerful. It's like you don't realize like, and it could be along the same lineage of fear, but like really tied to like early childhood imprints, and you're very impressionable, and it's like it's a little bit tougher to get those.
It gets deeper when like close relatives or anyone.
Yeah, because then you have like cords.
The closer the relationship, the bigger the cord.
Yeah, yeah.
The deeper the cord.
It's powerful because, like, let's say you're a parent, right? It's like a whole like hierarchy because they're like the top authority in your life, and if they say something like, it's just like that's like the pinnacle of that fear or whatever.
Your parents are like your first teachers.
Usually, yeah.
And like
so they
you look up to your teachers.
A big cord.
Yeah. And then like you're taught to respect your teachers and this and that.
Yeah.
Don't question.
So we
them.
accept a lot of it, but then later you're like questioning.
Once you become an adult, then even before that, like in
when
high
you
school,
do the work, and then the veil starts to lift more and more, and you're like,
You start formulating your own.
Yeah.
Your own like.
Well, you question it, and it's like there are things that you're just like fed, like you're born into, like your mom is supposed to be like nurturing and like protective and like guidance and give you like the best, but sometimes like because of their own insecurities or traumas or experiences, and it's unfortunate, but then it's not right that they, like the children are pretty much like the low-hanging fruit, and it's like this energy exchange that's unhealthy, and then there's like subtle things, and then that illusion of this person who carries this role of mother or father or whatever it is, like,
or any kind of relationship.
It's hard, like, but it kind of
even like
blinds you,
even like a girlfriend or wife,
yeah,
like, or a friend, but
and it could change, right? Like,
there's all kinds of situations.
Yeah.
and then
Well, even
there's
I mean, you look at like it, just like let's say okay, a mom or whatever role, it could be like an entity, like takes over their shell,
yeah
and now you're dealing with it, So like you don't like,
yeah
so
that's
you
like
shouldn't accept anything like face value. You should I was examining that so take away the illusion and measure someone based on their character or
yeah
like how they have served you, like what actions or
yeah
deeds, I guess.
like there's also um things that I learned, like you're you've made a contract going into this life to learn certain lessons.
Oh yeah,
So, so like we made contracts.
it's all karmic, like.
I made contract with my dad, even though he's a narcissist. Like,
Well, that he's playing the role, right? It's like a theater, like. And here, playing the role of your dad, who has all these things like to push your buttons,
like.
But and then you
I gotta admit,
it's a gift, like
yeah.
to learn from it, right? Like for me, like my mom, she pushes like religion, and I'm like, I got to a point where I finally, said, hey, I'm not, but there's like a control element. Like she's like, what, but then I finally like, it's like that was the end game to this role playing. Like, she played someone who like pushed something, which was religion in this case, and then like whether I accept it or not, but I had to like find my true authentic self, and like, so the more you connect, because like as a child I wasn't as connected, I was like heavily influenced, and you just like people pleasing, and you're giving up like your power, basically. But then when you're in your power, you're like, what do I want, what do I care, what do I believe? And like of all things, like because I think religion and belief is like the most sacred thing an individual has, and like for someone to come in and like to impose their will on you is so wrong. But like it's prevalent like throughout the world.
I noticed it was a good way for us to learn to be in our power and stand up for ourselves.
Yeah. Well, once I conquered that dragon,
Yeah.
like everything, like all the dominoes fell, because it's like I I gave up my own like respect to someone that didn't respect me at that level, and I think it taught me like everything is respect, like the saying like respect the earth, respect. And here I was in a relationship, parent child dynamic that was one way, and that's very unhealthy, and a lot of Asian cultures have that, just like ingrained. But I think that's a generational thing that needs to like change.
Yeah, it's another programming, the way
because
certain cultures,
they don't want to give up that power, right? Like when you're older, then you're like, okay, now I have this power over a child or whatever. It's like, do you need to have that?
There's like we all have free will, but what I'm learning also is that some people know how to manipulate you into.
Well, so let's just accept the fact that there are beings out there, human beings, that don't want your best. Like they're just like using you as an energy source or to feel good or whatever.
There's like so many ways
like,
that this world knows. There's like a lot of knowledge out there and suppressed knowledge, and like a lot of elites, have access to this knowledge.
You're talking about like. Yeah.
And
so even
their level of manipulation is maybe high, but it's already being exposed, because like people like you and me already know it.
Yeah.
No, we know their tactics. I mean, it's
well,
in
people who are
it's
aware.
In the movies. They try to program.
But the masses, like they've been studying,
media.
And it's effective because they've been like at it for years, and like fear, you see, like, has a lot of influence on people. And unfortunately, many people just don't question it or go along with it. So that is like the whole topic, right? We can talk about like
Yeah, that's a no whole
control
other
of
topic.
the masses. Yeah.
I guess we gotta stay on topic because
What
we
is that?
could.
Yeah, that's why like this it's energy, right? But then it's like it's expansive. So it's great. So like we'll have like topics cuz it can go like
Yeah, we could spend hours.
yeah.
Going from one topic to another.
Yeah.
It's a.
Well, even energy itself, like, how did you come about like believing in it? Like, I've always believed like energy is everything, right? Like through
I'll
science.
tell you like what happened that got me onto the spiritual journey. It actually like started like over 10 years ago, but like I didn't dive into it as heavily as I did like in 2018. Cuz like when uh, I think it was like 2017 December-ish, and I was starting to watch videos on YouTube, and even more about like empaths and
Yeah. Well, the world, like, cause all these things, like, I never knew even about energy healing
yeah,
until like how long ago? Like less than 10 years ago.
yeah.
And prior to that, like I I was seeking it in a way. But it was like I'm like, do I have to study quantum physics? Like it wasn't. But then there's Reiki and energy healing,
Yeah.
and I was like,
I
what? Like, where have I been? Like, so.
the one thing that like the one video that got me like kind of in a like I was kind of the room was getting dizzy. That's how crazy it was the what is it called? Oh man, I forgot. The oh, I'm gonna have to
We'll
Google
get
it.
back to you.
Yeah, it was you know those videos where it's like things change, and then it's like the famous one was like there's like movies where
Oh, like the Matrix or that one like with Leonardo DiCaprio. Um, what is it like?
no like movies change from like the actual lines change. I can't believe I forgot this. Like my memory is like that. We'll get back to it, but I got into that, and then I started like watching also like empath videos, and then the next day I was like, I'm gonna go see if I can find other empaths. That was like my like New Year's resolution or something,
Mm.
and then literally I started attracting empaths. So I went to like crystal fair or holistic fairs. There was like probably once a week.
Oh, really?
2018. There was like four. There was like three or four major holistic centers I would go through in Orange County, and like each one had one per week, and then I would just you know get a session with
Yeah.
with 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 some intuitive person, and like get a reading, this and that. And
Well, like I have to say, I didn't hear about any. It like everything was in the realm of new age kind of for me, like, and I wasn't like that into it. But then like after I had a Reiki session, then it's like when you feel it for yourself, I'm like, holy cow, like I felt like the the energy, like lighter energy, and
oh
things like that so now I started like having people write like before and after a session. That way, like, like, how are you feeling? Because this is subtle energy. And like before, people were just like, oh, I don't know, I feel good now, thanks, bye. And it's like, dude, you came here like almost crying, like depressed and everything, like, and then now,
yeah,
so
yeah.
like there's a change. But like how significant or like aware are you of it, you know, like, and can you see the benefits? Like people think like, oh, it's no big deal. Yeah, I feel better about like my relationship with this person or that, you know, it's like that's huge, right? And like how you feel about yourself. And then you mentioned like, you know, now you're more vocal, right? Like so now you're going through life like with all cylinders, you know? It's like
Yeah.
where you're like imagine going through life and you're freaking like just choked and you know, like you don't get to express your views, you know, and
Yeah.
then you're just like living in someone else's movie, you know, and that's how I feel like, no, this is your movie. This is our movie, you know, like,
Also, I did some like shadow work and past life healing
yeah,
because
so,
I found out that I was like a Buddhist monk in my past life, and I made a vow. Well, someone so like I was told that I made a vow of
yeah.
I made like I think there was three major vows that I discovered that Buddhist monks make,
So
and
you broke your vow.
one of well he and then well the first thing that he told me was that I made a vow to poverty in 3 lifetimes, but as long as 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 long as you work on the past life that
That's retarded. Like, why would you want, like, who made you take that vow, you know? That's like very detrimental to your soul. Like,
well I read that Buddhist monks make like a bunch of vows.
why? Who came up
There's
with
there's
it?
vow to poverty, there's
Yeah.
vow to
It doesn't make sense
celibacy,
to me. Like,
there's vow to celibacy, and then there's vow
no.
vow of silence.
Yeah.
In fact, vow of silence, I've seen people do that nowadays still.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's
recently.
good to clear. I mean, if there's, I don't know, like.
I guess it's like another form of programming because, and also, at the time, it probably made sense. And
well, there's
and then,
you know, because there is such a thing like, oh, you're doing spiritual stuff, like it has, you have to sacrifice and like,
yeah,
you know, you have to suffer. It's like why, you know, and
yeah, things change throughout lifetimes, you know.
Yeah,
like
but I think it should change because
like back then people thought the world was flat.
Sure.
And then,
but it's just wrong. So like
I
this
guess,
thing.
But then nowadays you got flat earthers too.
Well,
so it's kind of.
I think
it's kind of revived. There's all kinds of like you know things going on, but.
Yeah, so it's fine. Like people have like their different beliefs.
It's basically the universal law of change. Like there is no constant.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's constant is change itself.
Yeah.
So like back then, vow of poverty made sense because I was in a community with other people who were but I think the way I picture it is we had our own land.
Yeah.
We had our own way of sustaining life through farms. We grew our own food.
So you're saying maybe there was a reason.
We didn't think about it. We didn't need money.
Right.
We weren't. There was no such thing as poverty. So like, maybe things were obviously different back then.
Maybe there's a reason, right? Like just so.
Yeah.
I see it kind of like a trauma. Like, oh, I used to be scared of dogs. It served me, but now I'm a different. You know, I don't need to be in that like state.
Yeah.
You know, because it actually is a detriment. Like, because imagine you react, you know, in that lower vibrational. So actually, like you can just like look at it vibrationally, right? Like anything that's low vibrational. Well, our emotions like really serve us, right, as indicators or gauge. But beyond that, I think like our natural state of being is well-being and like, you know, like abundance, and but because of control and everything, like we live in like under restrictions and things.
Mm-hmm. So like anyway, I was working on I did some shadow work, past life. I even learned about soul retrieval. I don't know if you've heard of soul retrieval. And I actually learned that I've done soul retrieval by accident while participating in an ecstatic dance, because it got me into like a meditative state from the beat of the music and the drums, and it was like a repetitive drum.
Yeah.
And then later on, like I watched some shamanic videos of it was like Mongolian shamans, and they take a drum and they like beat it like this. They're like sitting down and they're beating it like constantly, and then they get into like and then what I learned is that's how they get into the void, and that the void is where the fractal souls of individuals travel to when they experience something very traumatic. Yeah. So like, imagine like your soul gets shattered. Like say a piece of your heart, leaves, or whatever body that got traumatized. It goes to the void.
Okay.
And the void is pretty much where like source is also. But like I was able to get into the void through like practicing meditation, and I noticed that when I get to the void, it's like super quiet, super calm. There's like pure nothingness.
Yeah.
And then I've been able to. I remember meditating, and even though there was this one case where a gardener was like, using his equipment and it was super loud, but the person leading it noticed that I was still in a high meditative state, and then she was able to like determine like which dimension we hit, that type of thing, and like I was like, whoa, we got into a high dimension even though there was a loud noise in the background. That's pretty interesting. So that's like a good way to practice like being able to get into a high state.
Yeah.
Even though there's major distractions in the back.
It's like different like brainwave, like the theta brainwave.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe in like shamanic stuff. I mean, it was already in the world, and but I think like when from the European aspect, it's like it looked savage, it's dancing around fire, drumming, but I think that's very healing, and now people are doing sound baths and like saging, and so I mean,
yeah, it's like common.
We're going back to the old ways,
Yeah.
and
but we don't have to hide from like.
And that's medicine, to like. And
we don't have to hide these practices from others.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to do so.
Yeah.
Because
like how flawed, like the system's gotten, like with pharmaceuticals and people, having all kinds of things like fentanyl and like, like instead of helping people, they're dying, because there's money attached to this type of like medicine, where shamanic plant medicine, is very organic and looks primitive, but I think it's powerful. I mean, because everything, is energy, vibration, so I really respect like that type of connection that they had with each other, community and the earth and the whole like oneness of it.
Yeah. There's a lot of like natural holistic ways of like healing now that's becoming more popular because people are waking up to the truth that big pharma is not worth it, and then there's all kinds of side effects.
Well, for me, it's like why not just try it? It's like it's natural, and a lot of it is like, I mean, if you take it like psilocybin, let's say mushroom, it's like it's on the earth and it's been shown effective. Like there was a study and information that it helped people who were suicidal. It was like over 90% success rate, 90 something. It was very high. And it's like, knowing that, like, why would anyone restrict that? You know, I mean, yeah, you can make it, you can regulate it, but make it accessible. But for you to restrict that, like, you, that's evil in a way, you know, like, because you're pretty much, like, that could be life saving to someone, you know, and our society doesn't really prioritize it. I mean, where does mental health and wellness, like, um, where is it in our society? You know, I think it should be at the top, and right now I think it's like so at the bottom because we live in a world where like
It's being suppressed.
It's what you see.
It's being suppressed by the government because the government supports big pharma.
Yeah. See, so that's a. But then
you gotta follow the
people
money.
Are like, oh no, like.
You follow the money. Where like look at where all the money is. Insurance companies, and insurance companies are tied with the medical industry, and you know, and then who's tied in with the medical industry.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
who's pushing the laws?
See, that like gets into that arena that we were talking about, like with how we're living in a controlled like world and everything.
The Matrix.
But like for me, it's like, so you know, humans like having tools to get through life. I mean, there's like, you know, there's so much to deal with, right? Being human. I mean, the physical and then but the mental things, like you see people committing suicide, like Robin Williams and Anthony Bourdain. On the outside, you know, they look fine, they got everything, but it just takes like a moment of like depression or whatever. But people should have more awareness and like tools to, you know, work around that. And
I heard Anthony Bourdain didn't really kill himself.
Oh, I don't know.
But
there's always
he was about to expose something that would have you know, put some big people in jail or something. But we'll probably stay away from that subject for now. But like there's a lot of things like happening where people have talked too much or said
they disappear. Yeah,
they got too close to the truth, and then they got silenced. Like,
yeah, possible
forever. So like
yeah.
Well, not forever.
Well, because we're dealing with very powerful. You know, they're powerful, but they're very like weak. I think like when you get behind, you know, you see who's behind the curtain. They're just like pathetic. You know, like fear mongering, and they enjoy the power. You know, like that's. I don't know. I think like people who like show like more power in that way, that they're really weak. You know, like, and they're not able to tap into their own.
It's also a huge like negative karma to infringe on someone's free will.
Yeah, but you said there's
so
like a loophole.
So it's coming back on.
Yeah.
On them, and the collective is
good. Well, the light always wins.
Yeah, yeah, you know, justice always prevails, and the universe always finds a way to balance things out. So the way I see things are happening right now, it is balancing out. Yeah. And
I mean, I have trust and faith. Like, you know, Source is aware of this. It's not like, you know, things that are just like. They think they're getting away with it, but they're not. You know, it's. I mean, there's a dark and the light, but the light always will win.
Yeah. The sword of truth is swinging all over the place.
Yeah.
And
good.
And I
can't wait. I mean, can you imagine a world where different from how we've been like through this whole, you know, process is like, because. Like in America, it's very like Protestant, and like the Bible carries a lot of, you know, like they say separation of state and like religion, but it's like it's more vocal than, let's say, you know, the holistic approach, and I think it's tied to like that narcissism is prevalent and is more vocal. So they do get like, where if, like, I think that's something I'm hoping will change, and then I hope to be a part of is like, putting it out there more. Like one day you'll see like energy work during a commercial during the Super Bowl or something. I mean, wouldn't that be and then people who like there will be a shift at some point where like religion and all of its stuff was going to be exposed, and then like you'll be like on the wrong side if you don't like understand like quantum physics and just like the oneness and the need to like live in a more loving world.
Yeah, there's definitely some shifts going on, and I think what I heard
What?
is that this is from like two sources.
Yeah,
but
you have all the sources. I stay away. Like you're my source for all the
like
is enough to.
there was
deal with.
there was one that where okay, I'll just say it, but like they from both sources they said that we'll make first contact
Oh yeah.
in
Yeah,
in 2027. But I'm surprised that there was a
actually,
date
in the books
given.
that I've read, it talks about disclosure
Yeah.
and like go from and that's the shift. It's like, oh, like one day you got your world is all
I know.
set, and then
Now here's the
suddenly
thing.
it's like, wow, that opens up like
People
a
know
whole-
people know about Project Bluebeam now, which is the false first contact, which is like a more negative timeline type of thing that they're gonna try to, or the forces that the negative forces are gonna try to use, because here's the thing, like they know that we're eventually going to make first contact, right?
and they're
So they're going to try to hijack that and
Sure.
and use their
well,
technology.
they've always known like
They're going to try to use
this
their
is-
technology to, and it's pretty advanced technology from what I understand,
yeah
to make it look like a negative alien attack type of scenario.
yeah
Now, maybe I don't know if the thing is like that Project Bluebeam has become so popular now that maybe because the collective is aware of this, then it's not gonna, it's
so
not
we
gonna,
know they're
yeah, we already know their
Yeah.
plans, so like it's not going to be as effective
mhm.
compared to if we didn't know the plan. You see what
Yeah.
you see what I mean? So getting that information out there is important, like whether you like it or not. Like that's why I like to just put information out there, even though like yeah, some of
Yeah.
this stuff may be difficult to swallow, but it's important that we do, like, because it's up to the individual to discern their own truths, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm a very open-minded person, and I can discern like whatever information I feel like, you know. It doesn't bother me. I've been doing this for like
I mean, it's all
decades.
free will, and like, who doesn't want like a world where there's no like this dark forces controlling and everything. Well, they do, but then like the average person doesn't have. There's so much information that you're just like, I don't even know what to believe anymore.
Some people get like information,
but they do want to.
They get information overload.
Yeah.
And then
like
they shut down and want to.
Yeah, I mean, I want to fight the fight, but then like, where do I fight?
Well, yeah.
So it's just
you gotta
so much information.
You can only handle the energy that feels right for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's normally.
That's why I feel like each of us just being in alignment and doing like shining our light. Like here, it's starting to.
I think everybody should just like do what feels right for them, and then if it doesn't like align with you, then don't don't tell the person stop doing that. Just do your own thing also, and like, you know, because everybody has their role in this.
Yeah, and then things will work out.
Universe. You know,
like
just because it doesn't pertain to you or resonate with you, doesn't, it could resonate with like 100 other people, and then those 100 could resonate with another 100, and that's where you get the chain reaction.
Yeah, it just has to spark, like,
you know,
somewhere where the energy can go.
And everyone has like their own path and their own pace, so it may not resonate now, but there's been things that didn't resonate with me, you know, 2 years ago, but then all of a sudden, oh, you know what, now it makes sense.
That's why, like, me back then, like, I like thought it was all, you know, like, not like, it was like for other people, not for me. But then now I'm one of them.
You're one. Yeah. See, there's all kinds of.
But just to be open, you know. I mean, I always try to be open minded. Like, I went on that ride, like, to see the other side, and it's like, well, totally different. You know, there's always like.
Oh, you're talking about the That was eye opening itself, right? Because then you witnessed it
from the other side.
Yeah.
And
you witnessed it firsthand rather than getting information from another source, from a third party source that could be biased.
I learned like some of the.
That's the most important thing. Experiencing things yourself.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh well, he or she told me this. You know, like.
That's why, like, with energy healing, like, how to, like, pitch it. You know, because I felt like the best way is to feel it yourself. That's why, like, I was thinking to go maybe to fairs or something, and then just like allow people 15-minute sessions or something. They can feel, you know, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Or sleeping better.
Because like talking about it, like, you know, it will resonate with people who are ready, but sometimes, like, you know, it's just like you can go over and people don't get it.
Yeah, like the thing with like results, people want to experience.
Yeah, but it's like it's intangible.
That they can tend. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quantitative.
I would say sleep. Like has your and then
stress and
number one, has your sleep gotten better, and number two, has your dreams become more vivid? Now that's like a thing that I experienced.
Oh, I haven't experienced one. Like dreams is a different.
There was this one thing I did even long time ago, like 2011 or 12. I joined like some kind of like meditation, and it was like a long session. It was 2 days. It was 2 days worth. Each one was like 4 hours or so, and like it was like a very deep cord cutting type of thing, and I noticed like my dreams were like like HD high definition vivid, and I never see literally the next that night, like that night, and then for like a while, it lasted for a week or two, but then like I was like, man, I wonder if I remember how to do the thing again, because it was a long. I do remember parts of it. But it's important to have someone do the guide you through it, because I think I can reenact.
Well, it's like baking a cake. You need all the right ingredients, the right temperature, and like subtle little, you know, like things where like a person guiding you, like, you know, help. But then you do it yourself and you're missing ingredient. You add, like, you know.
Well, the thing is, if you're like in a super high state, it's like you're not fully in your body. So you're also
that
conscious.
part of you is like not like.
It helps a lot when like someone who's grounded, grounded is driving the car for you. You know,
because you're like.
Like like drunk people don't drive. Well, they're not supposed to drive, but
Yeah.
both people will survive if a grounded person is driving.
Mm-hmm.
So in a meditative state, like I wanna, it would help a lot to have someone, talk you through, because also when someone's talking to you, your unconscious is being programmed.
Still connect. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why.
Oh yeah.
That's
like,
why when I
you're
read a
doing it
meditation,
yourself, like you're supposed to be, just like in the more unconscious, right?
Yeah.
Allowing, but then you're still thinking. Then it's hard.
there's been times when I led a meditation and I got too high on myself.
They're like, hey,
I stopped talking. I stopped talking, but it was weird though because like my throat it felt cracked.
Oh yeah.
And like it didn't allow me. It
Yeah.
said no. Right now, it's your time. You gotta. It's
Enjoy the meditation yourself.
enjoy something like that. I couldn't speak anymore.
Well,
And
I did a like as part of my one of my Reiki level, and the Reiki master, she's like, because now they do it like through meditation, the attunement, like and that's basically a lot of that belief that a lot is happening in that state. So one of the meditations, like I was like so deep in it, I fell asleep, and then she's like, "It's time to wake up," like.
yeah.
But she thought I was like
I'm gonna check the video.
sleeping in class.
I don't know if it's still recording. It probably stopped. Okay, good. It's still going.
Wait, what's the limit on it? Like how?
I don't know. Oh, but it's low in battery.
That's enough for today, right?
Yeah, we did a lot of talking.
Yeah, I didn't even know
think
we were
it's
gonna
good
do
now.
it like that. But
Well, I think if we do this again, we'll talk about like some other stuff. Do you want? Is there like some stuff you want to show off, like your art, or like
Yeah,
what else
sure.
do you do?
When?
You do art?
I do art.
Is there like? But you got a lot of these things. This is a
Yeah.
cool.
So with
like-
my energy healing, I like to throw everything at it. So
Yeah.
let's get you in that state, like sage, Palo Santo, and then I use aromatherapy, use
Yeah.
crystals, use sound bath, call in like ascended masters and like your higher self.
You want to do like a cosmic meditation?
Right now, cosmic meditation.
No, the next time. You ever? That's what I used to.
Yeah.
Lead. I called it cosmic.
Yeah.
Is there like a piece we could like?
You can film, or you see the crystal? You show like.
We'll
Reel it in a bit.
We'll talk about art next time and maybe crystals, and we'll stop it from there.